So, I've been wanting to talk about this particular topic for quite some time now, but to be honest, I've kept kind of putting it off because I don't really know how to talk about this topic without it sounding a bit like a self-help poster or anything like that. Because every single time someone says, just let it go, and I've heard it, you've heard it, we've all heard it, there's a part of you that wants to just be like, okay, but how do we do that? Like, what is just letting it go? What does that actually look like? What does that actually mean? What does it feel like? Because from where I'm standing, it just feels like trying really hard not to feel something that you're definitely feeling. And I think that's where a lot of us get stuck. Not because we don't want to let go, but because nobody really explains what letting go actually looks like. Like, what is forgetting? What is not caring anymore? Is it just smiling and pretending everything's okay when in reality the world may be crashing down on you? Because I feel like I've heard all of these and I've tried all of these, but none of them have seemingly worked too well for me. So today I want to just talk about it a little bit. Real talk, like the stuff that I've been thinking about, because I think letting go is one of the hardest things to do, and one of those things that sounds a lot more simple and is genuinely one of the hardest things a person can do. And I think you deserve more than just somebody telling you to just let it go as advice. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about today is something that I don't think people name enough. And a lot of us, we're grieving something that never really existed in the first place. Like, we had this made up future, made up life, made up picture in our head of how things were going to go. Might be a relationship, a friendship, a version of your life that you thought you would have by a certain age. And somewhere along the way, it just didn't work out and it didn't happen. And now you're carrying that weight that's not just sadness because of what happened, but it's grief for the thing that you thought was coming that never ended up showing up. And that's a real loss, like, genuinely. And I don't think we give ourselves permission to feel that, because it feels like, I don't know, it just feels like we're complaining about something that we never really had, and it just feels kind of wrong to do that. And so we stuff it down and we're like, no, I'm fine. And then we wonder why we feel this weird hollow thing that we can't really explain. And I think about this a lot with relationships specifically. When something ends, or when you realize someone isn't who you thought they were, you're not just losing that person, you're losing the version of them that you built in your head. The trips that you were going to take, the inside jokes that you were going to have, the version of yourself that existed in that future with them. And you can't explain that loss without it sounding like you're being dramatic, but it's really there. And the first step is just letting go. Genuinely, is actually letting yourself feel that, not rushing past it, not deciding you're over it before you are. Let yourself be sad about it. It's okay to do that. And you have to do that. That's one of the most important things that you can do. And one of the most meaningful ways of helping yourself move on. Like, you actually have to be sad about it. Not performing it, not putting on this fake persona of being sad. You actually just have to sit with yourself for a minute and say, yeah, you know what? This really hurts. Because it does at the end of the day. And there's also this need to be understood. Like, something happened. Someone hurt you. A relationship, it fell apart. A situation went wrong. And more than the pain than what actually happened, what keeps you up at night is the fact that they just don't get. They don't see what they did. They don't understand how much it affected you. And maybe they've never even acknowledged it. Maybe they've moved on like it was nothing. And now you're just here like, does anybody even see what just happened? Does it even matter to anyone that I'm going through this? And you replay it. You draft that message that you'll never send. You have that conversation in your head at like 2 a.m. where you finally say the perfect thing and they finally get it and they finally understand. They say sorry and it was wrong what they did. And here's the hard thing. And I say this gently because it stings a lot. And it's that moment might never come. The person might never get it. They might never say the thing that you want to hear. They might never apologize. And if your healing is dependent on them finally understanding, you're giving them the keys to a door that should only ever be yours to open. Because here's the thing about understanding. You understand. You know what happened. You know how it felt. You know what it cost you. You don't need their acknowledgement to validate that. Your experience is real whether you admit it or not. And I know that doesn't make it hurt less, but letting go of that need to be understood by the person who really hurt you, that's not letting them off the hook. That's getting your own life back. That's deciding that your peace does not have to wait for them to catch up. And I think there's stuff a lot of us are carrying that we won't even fully admit to ourselves. Like, there's the surface level stuff, the stuff you can talk about, and then there's that other layer. The anger you feel, the guilt you feel, the grief you feel, the sadness that just shows up out of nowhere on a random Tuesday night, and you're like, seriously, are we still doing this? And we fight it. Like, we actively fight feeling it because it means we're not over it, and not being over it feels like we're losing somehow. Like, if you're still sad about something that happened 2 years ago, that means they still have the power over you. But here's what I've come to understand. Fighting the feeling does not make it go away. It just pushes it underneath the surface. It's still there. It just shows up sideways as irritability, as numbness, as this low hum of something that it's just not quite right, and you can't really put your finger on it. And there's a big difference between feeling something and living in it. Like, you can feel the grief without building a house in it. You can feel the anger without making it your whole personality. And you can acknowledge the sadness without deciding that that's all there is. So you have to feel it. Actually feel it. Cry if you need to cry. Be angry if you need to be angry. Write it down and burn that paper if that's what it takes. But feel the actual thing, because the actual thing is survivable, and it's the suppressed thing that is what eats you alive. So, okay, what is letting go then? Like, actually, what does letting go look like? Because I've spent a long time thinking letting go meant not caring anymore. Like, the goal was to get to this state of total emotional neutrality where the thing or the person just had zero effect on you whatsoever. And I chased that for a long time, and it just didn't work because emotions don't work like that. You can't think your way out of caring about something that you genuinely cared about. And then I also thought that letting go meant forgetting, moving on, just filling your own life with enough stuff that this thing just gets buried. And that also didn't work because it's still there. You've just built a lot of stuff on top of it now. So here's what I think letting go actually is. It's deciding that the thing gets to be a part of your story, but it doesn't get to be the whole story. It happened, it hurt, it changed you, and you are still here. You are still going. You are still choosing consciously, actively, to not let that have the final word on who you are and where you're headed. And it's not a one-time decision either. And I want to be clear about that. It's like you decide to let go, and then 3 days later, something reminds you of it. And you feel all those emotions all over again. And you think, oh no, I'm back to square one. But you're not. You're not at square one. You just felt something, and that's okay. And letting go is something you choose over and over again. Some days it's easy, some days it's hard. But both of those days, they count. And every time you choose it, even when it's hard, that's you taking your life back a little bit more. Now look, I don't know what you're carrying right now. I don't know whose face comes to mind when you hear this video. I don't know what version of your life you're grieving, or what conversation you're still replaying, or what pain you've been pretending isn't there. But I do know this. You're not weak for still feeling it. You're not broken for not being over it yet. And you are not alone in having no idea how to put it down. Look, letting go is so hard, like genuinely hard. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because whatever you're carrying clearly mattered a lot to you. And things that don't matter just don't dissolve because you decide they should. So be patient with yourself. Give yourself the grace you'd give literally anybody else going through the same thing. And just one day at a time, start choosing yourself over the weight of it. Not for them, not to prove something, just because you deserve a life that isn't defined by the heaviest thing that's ever happened to you. And that's it. That's the whole thing. I'll see you guys in the next one.